All right, so I'm here today with Matt Mort, the one, the only amazing YouTube editor, YouTuber extraordinaire. And I think what's really cool is how we met several years ago at VidCon. What was that, 2018 maybe?
2018, yeah.
You were doing like a vlog kind of Dobrik style kind of thing. I don't remember what you're doing, but you were just a kid, like in high school, I think. I don't remember.
Yeah, well, no, I wasn't in high school. I think I was
just fresh out
of college, actually.
How old? What the heck?
Yeah, I know. Do you know how old I am?
No, I thought you're like 22 or something.
Currently, or back then?
Currently, you're older than that.
Yeah, I'm almost 26.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you would have been fresh out of college then. So like 21.
Yeah, 20. Something like that. Yeah.
Okay. You just felt so young.
I know. Yeah. I get that.
That's amazing. I am so sorry that I misjudged that situation.
It's all good.
But we met at VidCon, and you were like, tell me what you were doing back then, because it was really cool, some of the videos that you were making back in 2018.
Right. Man, it's so like all over the place. I was just trying to figure out like what to do. I feel like I have a bit more like structure now, but back then it was all trying to kind of, I loved the spontaneity and absurdity or over the topness, I guess, of like the David Dobrik videos.
Yeah.
Where he almost like, or even like L Mills, how they like take something kind of the little pity on things. Like they take the smallest little opportunity to like get back at somebody, like by marrying their sister or marrying like, or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And I really liked those type of videos. And I never went to that extent. I had some ideas of that, but yeah, I think at the time I might have, I think I came up to you because you looked familiar for some reason. I like must have saw you somewhere online. So I struck up a conversation, and I don't know if I might have filmed with you asking about David Dobrik, because I wanted to do like some sort of 6 degrees of separation with David Dobrik or something like that.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, that didn't really fall through with that, but
yeah, I think I remember this confrontation now that you bring all this up. It's all coming back to me.
Right.
I think you thought you recognized me, but then I tried like listing a bunch of things. You're like, no, and like,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you didn't. You never did see me, and you just maybe I just have a familiar face.
Yeah, I watch a lot of YouTube too, so I probably saw you in like some random YouTube video or something too.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you were researching any type of like YouTuber camera at the time, I probably would have reviewed it. So
yeah, that's true.
But we stayed in touch over the years. I mean, gosh, it's almost 2022 now.
Yeah.
We've been old friends for a while. And it's been really exciting to follow your journey as a YouTuber and an editor for really big YouTubers and doing some really fun stuff. I want to talk about like YouTube editing. We obviously had Hayden Hillier-Smith on, and we talked a lot about that. And I'd love to get your take on just kind of the current state of YouTube, and then things that you have planned in the future. But first off, like I feel like I've like I said, we've kind of been acquaintances. We've been talking. We've been in groups, the Slack group, and texting each other. But I really don't know your backstory. Can you like tell me? I mean, you're 26, so you're an old man.
Yeah. That's weird to hear. Yeah.
I'm 31, so I mean that's really weird to hear. So
that's not bad. Yeah.
I know, but like when I turned 30, it was like no big deal, and then when I turned 31, I was like, oh shoot, I'm in my 30s.
Yeah, that's a big number. Yeah,
that was big. But anyways, tell me about yourself. Like, were you a filmmaker, video guy growing up? Did you enjoy making videos with your friends? Like, kind of what was your journey into video production?
Yeah, I don't know exactly how I got into it, other than my mom had like a tape camera that like the only way you could view it was like by plugging it into the TV and playing it back,
Yes,
and rewinding and like recording over stuff you already recorded.
absolutely.
Um,
Those old VHS
so
cameras
yeah, yeah. So
or
I just like
camcorder.
filmed, yeah, camcorder. So I just filmed like adventures around the neighborhood, like going sledding or playing tag or just running around and stuff.
Yeah.
And then somehow I got like another like my first digital camera from like cash converters, like a thrift store or a pawn shop or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, slowly just got into like Windows Movie Maker and eventually iMovie, got like a Mac and started doing like videos in high school and like school projects and all that stuff.
Which is when I thought I
Um,
met you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I just yeah kept trying to do YouTube since like 2008. Like falling in love with like Smosh and Fred at the time, and then
Yeah.
trying to do YouTube since then. And finally, I don't know, in 20, I'm skipping a lot of stuff, but in 2019 or 2020, I finally got to do like full time.
Yeah.
But took a long while to
I
get
feel
here.
I do feel like you're kind of a real success story for your generation. Like, there's so many aspiring YouTubers that are your age, and especially the Gen
Right.
Zers, right? Like, I guess, are you a Gen Zer? Whatever. I don't know.
I just made millennial. I'm
You're
95,
you're
so
like right in the middle, yeah.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
yeah, you're right. Not even in the middle. You're
No,
on the edge.
I'm like a month away from being a Gen Z, I think.
Do you remember life with no internet? Not really.
Roughly. I mean, I played like PBS Kids, like video
Oh, heck
games on
yeah.
the computer. But yeah, yeah.
Me too, man. I
So
played what was that one game? It was like you had little like monsters. It was almost like Pokemon, but um you would like
Neopets?
yeah, that was it. That was it.
Yeah, yeah.
Neopets. I freaking love that.
Yeah.
And Homestar
It's a good
Runner,
time.
those
I
flash.
didn't play that one.
No,
Yeah.
it was a TV show
Or
on a website, and it was all
yeah.
flash based.
Hmm,
Um
hmm.
but anyways, you basically just, it sounds like you essentially just hustled your way into becoming a YouTuber. What was that journey like? How did you pay the bills to get there?
Yeah. Well, I guess the thing is that I didn't really hustle. I was like in like 2014, I got into like Gary Vaynerchuk,
Yeah.
like his content, and started thinking more, and Casey Neistat and all that, and like try to think more about, um, yeah, hustling and doing work and putting in
Yeah.
the effort and all that, and being more intentional with what I'm doing. But I mean, I worked at Best Buy. I worked at Earl's. I worked at like restaurants and whatnot. Like
What's
any retail job.
what's
Yeah.
Earl's? Is that a Canadian
It's a
thing?
restaurant. Yeah, it's a restaurant. It's like a
And
chain in Canada.
by the way, everybody, Matt is Canadian. If
Yeah.
you can't pick up on it
Yeah.
already, I didn't even hear anything really. So not
No,
yet.
I
You haven't
don't.
said
Yeah, I
about
don't know if
yet.
I have an accent. No, no, I haven't. Um, yeah. So I basically just like took retail jobs and hated a lot of it. I'm not very good with like discipline, so I can't just force myself to do something I'm not really interested in. I'm trying to work on that now because I need to do that for like editing. Like I need to just like sometimes I don't want to do it, but I just got to do it. So
Do you
um,
do you
yeah.
think that you're an editor, like, or is it just kind of a means to an end for you? Because I can relate to the latter. Like, I don't
Mhm.
necessarily love editing, but I love the process and I love the result.
Right.
And it's expensive and hard to find somebody to edit for me.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
just kind of end up doing it. Like, do you find that you actually do you recognize that you are an editor? Do you enjoy editing?
Yeah. I struggle with like knowing if I'm like just an editor or if I'm a creator as well. I feel like focusing on editing right now is what I should be doing because it seems to make sense for right now. And there's such a high demand for editors. Like so many
Oh
people
yeah.
are looking for good editors,
And
um,
especially who are specialized as YouTube specific editors,
yeah,
the
yeah,
fact that you have that baseline understanding of
mhm,
retention and algorithm and all that type of stuff,
yeah,
your traditional TV editor, you'd have to essentially spend a couple months teaching them these things. And then not only that, they have to end up kind of caring about it
yeah,
passionately.
exactly.
So yeah,
Yeah,
it is a
yeah,
valuable trait that you're a valuable asset right now.
right, right. And I find that a lot of creators, the more I talk to like more creators, that they're looking for like a storytelling editor more
Yeah.
than just like cool graphics and like jump cuts and whatnot. Like there's more to it than just the typical YouTube things.
Yeah,
So it
totally.
feels very niche down. So I feel like I can't let go of it right now, and I
Yeah.
enjoy it. I do enjoy it too. It's a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of the dream to be working with all these different people that, and you get to kind of bounce around it. It gives you a variety.
Mm-hmm.
And let's get
Yeah.
into that. Like, if I go on your YouTube channel, the banner says Matt Mort. I edit other people's YouTube videos.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what do you mean by that? Who do you work for? Who are the most regular people currently? And then, I'd love to hear some, crazy stories about your time working for all sorts of these different creators.
Sure,
But
sure.
yeah, who,
Um,
who are you currently working with?
yeah, currently I'm just editing for Downey Live. Some
Oh,
Michael
cool.
Downey. He does like a lot
Uh
of
huh.
travel and hidden gems videos. And that's like my full-time thing. It's been pretty much just focused on him like this whole year. We're currently working on like a cross Canada series that's like for TV and his YouTube channel.
Uh
So
huh.
that's like fun to play around with and try out. But so that's yeah, just working with him. I worked with like I don't know, like Quebblecop for like a month.
Okay.
I worked obviously with like Brad with Discover Connection for
Yeah, that was the one that I
2
remember you.
years.
I remember that
Yeah.
was the one you were working with last time I talked to you.
Yeah. And yeah, I've worked with a couple other creators here and there.
What's been your
Um,
what's been your perspective of different creators? I mean, everybody has a different kind of language and
mhm.
storytelling thing, but is there anything that you've noticed in all of these different creators, and even in yourself, that is similar? Is there something about all of them, or are they all just super different?
That's a good question. I'm not too sure. They hmm.
I mean, think about it. Like, I was talking about this in the last episode with another guest who's a YouTuber, and it's like the reason that I love YouTube isn't even just because I enjoy making videos. It's also because I get to be one of those guys that gets to hang out with other YouTubers. And I
Mhm.
love YouTubers because I don't know why. It's just like we all share a very similar like mindset, and
Yeah.
we kind of all just respect one another. I feel like there's really no competition, even though
Right.
there's similar channels. And, in my case, when I was doing camera stuff, you have, all sorts of different guys, Gerald Undone and Joshio and
Mhm.
Sarah Dici, I Justine, all these people. But like,
Yeah.
it feels like we're just colleagues. It doesn't feel like any type of competition. Um,
Right. Right.
and when you're all together in one room, like like going to VidCon or Vid Summit or any of these types of places, it's just so um it's so energizing to be around other creators. And
Yeah. Yeah.
um
I'm with you there. Yeah. I don't fully understand it either. Like for some reason that's kind of the goal for me is just like surrounding myself with YouTubers or people in the YouTube world or creator economy world. Like I just want to be
yeah.
in that world no matter what I'm doing. And I don't know why fully, but yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think it's just a lot of it is the freedom of being able to kind of just do whatever the heck you want and finding an audience that likes it. And that's just such
Mhm.
a free way to be a creative. Like you don't
Yeah.
have a client per se. You just have your own. The limit is your own creativity and work
Yeah.
ethic.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
agree.
so let's talk about the storytelling on YouTube and what you're talking about. How a lot of people that you've been working with are looking specifically for good storytelling editors. Obviously, we spoke with Hayden, and you mentioned you listened to that one, and like, he's a great storyteller, editor, and in a way, he, along with Mr. Beast and others, have kind of been shaping YouTube, going from just meme reviews, which PewDiePie does so well, and others continue to do reaction-based channels, and they seem to do really well because they're very like easy to digest. They're funny. It's just like quick, fun entertainment. But these story-based videos that you're doing with Downey Live and the things that are really popping off on the trending page on YouTube are really trending towards good storytelling in a very cinematic way. Can you talk about that and what your thoughts are as an editor, the current landscape?
Yeah. I think for me, I'm very much just into kind of this kind of relates with like productivity YouTubers or just in general, just like value, like what value am I giving to people, or what value am I getting from what I consume online. And so I want to make sure that whatever people are consuming that I make is valuable to them. I don't want to just be making some sort of day in the life video that I'm just going to get Starbucks or whatever. Like, I don't want to make a video that has no meaning or purpose, which I did a lot of back in the day. But you had
to experiment to figure it out.
Of course. Yeah.
Don't be too hard on yourself.
No. Yeah. People. Yeah. It's fair to experiment and stuff. But I feel like it's a lot of like, I guess it kind of starts with like just cutting out the fluff, like the stuff that you don't really need, like the uhs and ums, the gaps and all that stuff, and like it kind of into the pacing a bit. But then there's like the emotional tie to it of like, it's like if someone's telling you a story, I don't know, like you've probably been to a party or just met someone and they've been telling you a story and you're like, what's the point of this? Or like, why, or where is this leading to? Like, what are you telling me right now?
That's the worst when you're at a party and somebody's just telling this story and it's just going on and on and on. And then they get to the punchline and it's like, is that it? Oh my God.
Yeah. So like, it feels like a waste of time, or it just feels like you want to be doing something else. And I feel like just having some sort of emotional connection or just making someone feel something just gives them more value than like a standard, which I guess like something like a meme review, you can have that because you can have some laughs, some like you feel good afterwards, you feel connected to someone. But I feel like making content that people kind of step away after and feel like impacted, like it sticks with them afterwards, is going to be a lot more meaningful for sure.
Exactly. When you say that, there's a video that was on trending a couple months ago from Yes Theory that sticks in my mind when you say that, and it's the skydiving film that they did. I forget the title of that video, but it was just such a powerful story, and the kind of crazy things that happened to the main character. It was like it's just as memorable as a great Netflix show, or movie. And,
exactly.
I think really what's happening is that YouTube is just maturing and becoming the next version of television. And so therefore the production value is continuing to get better and better. What are your thoughts on, because I've kind of always theorized on the kind of intentional crappiness of the way things are shot in the pop culture world of YouTube. If you think about David Dobrik and Logan Paul, they're the biggest YouTubers in the world, and they don't hire like a film crew. They have millions of dollars. They could hire somebody to come out with an Arri Alexa and have like a boom mic miking everything. What is it about the kind of handheld run and gun shot on iPhone or shot on a DSLR with no microphone? What is it about that in your opinion that continues to exist even today in 2021?
Well, it seems to make sense. Just like it's the relatability factor that like
Mm.
I am you, or like just it's you know how like Charlie D'Amelio or like the founder or whatever of TikTok said that they like handpicked people or like tried to
Yeah.
find like Charlie D'Amelio and Addison Rae and all that and grow them to be like the stars so that people want to join TikTok and like do the same thing or be like them. And
Wait
they're
a minute.
just
No,
filming it.
I haven't heard that.
Oh, you haven't heard that?
Can
Oh,
you reiterate that also for our listeners too? Like,
sure.
what is that you're talking about there?
I think it's basically like if you want someone to like join a community, there has to be sort of I don't know what the term is, but there has to be like I guess shining stars or like the people that stick out from the community.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like the Hype House or something. Like Colin Smear did an episode I think on this. Like the Hype House has it is like known just because like Charlie D'Amelio or like a big star was in the Hype House and then they
Uh-huh.
left and then they had a successful career or whatever, or like SNL or whatever. People
Sure.
join
Yeah.
SNL and then afterwards they have a successful career. Um,
Yeah, that's a good point.
so
That's a good one to. That's a good one
yeah,
for boomers.
yeah. But I think that's what TikTok did was find like people that they could give success
Yeah.
stories to, and then people want to be like that. But they shot stuff on iPhones, and pretty much everyone has an iPhone or a smartphone, and they can just shoot whatever they want. And I think that's part of why people on
Yeah.
YouTube, why Logan Paul, David Dobrik just shoots on like a simple camera. Also
Yeah.
because it's easier to film. Like
Of
it's probably
course.
easier
Yeah.
to film like David Dobrik fooling around with his friends instead of like a whole crew like
Yeah.
documenting. I mean,
And
he's
it.
doing like a series now, but yeah.
Yeah, he is. Well, that's the thing is like those types
Mhm.
of productions can still exist, but it's still on a completely different medium. You know, that's
Yeah.
on a streaming, Discovery
Yeah.
Plus show or whatever. And then obviously Logan Paul did the fight, and that was
Mhm.
broadcast professionally, just like any other fight.
Yeah.
So currently, it just seems like YouTube has always been all about. I mean, it's YouTube, like it's all about
Mhm.
just normal people, and
Yeah.
for some reason, like as iPhones get better and as 4K cameras get cheaper and cheaper, over time things will start to look better and better. And the iPhone
Yeah.
13 looks so freaking good now.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it shoots ProRes. You can shoot
Right.
like
Right.
10-bit ProRes files on an iPhone, which is absurd.
Wow. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it just you basically want it to feel like the creator is sort of intentionally shooting it as if you were also yourself, used being any normal average Joe, pulled
Yeah.
out your phone and filmed something.
Mm-hmm.
They want it to
Yeah.
feel the exact same as any normal person would capture something on their phone, so that way it feels authentic. It makes sense.
Yeah. And it's kind of like like with Logan Paul's example, like it's like you see him boxing in this like crazy TV, like or even like a celebrity, like you follow a celebrity on Twitter. It's like
Mhm.
an inside to their look or inside to their life or like Instagram or whatever. You see them on the big screen, and then you can go and check your phone and see them like just like having spaghetti or something. And
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
it's like a inside look. It's like it is the what's the relationship where you have like you feel like you have a relationship to like you're the person you follow, but only through a screen. I forget what it's called, para something,
Oh yeah. I don't know.
parasocial. Yeah,
That sounds about right. But
yeah.
I mean, back to what you were just saying. Essentially, what you're saying, and what I guess the CEO of TikTok said, is that they literally picked a couple of people and essentially
Mhm.
just pushed a button and said, "These are the to compare it to the Matrix, like these are the chosen
Yeah.
ones, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and they chose them intentionally to be very relatable and normal, so somewhat. But
Mhm.
isn't that also kind of like jacked up? Like it's pretty messed up in a way too, because like
Yeah.
that D'Amelio documentary really shows like how hard it's been for them on their family mentally. I mean, she was just she still is underage, right? Like,
Yeah, I think so.
so
Yeah.
we're talking about a childhood that may have been taken away from her.
Right.
And in the moment it feels like, oh my gosh, we're making money, we're famous, whatever. But that's gonna, that decision that TikTok made is going to have ramifications on that young lady as she becomes a woman and as she becomes maybe a mother one day. And like, it's just it's strange that we live in this world where something like that could happen. I mean, that's I don't know if an American company would do that. I don't know. Maybe not, but maybe.
I don't know. I wouldn't put it past some people. I feel like it's possible.
All the Silicon Valley companies are pretty crazy, honestly. I mean, Facebook famously is a right mess.
I listened to a podcast a while back of like Tinder did the same thing essentially when they like started blowing up or they wanted to find people. They would get they'd go to college campuses and they would find the most popular kids to be on to Tinder. And so they're like, oh my God, Josh is on Tinder. Oh my God, Brittany's on Tinder. I want to date them. Someone's like, yeah.
Oh, that's even worse in a way. Like that's really slimy.
Yeah.
We were talking about my wife today, actually. We were just in the car and she was like, I heard that Facebook changed their name or something. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, well, Facebook, they own all these different things like Oculus and Instagram and all that. And so they, on the stock market, basically for it to read Facebook doesn't make any sense anymore because they encompass all these apps. So they just changed it to Meta, blah, blah, blah. And we were just talking about it, and then she was like, what was that movie, The Social Distancing or something? I was like, The Social Network. And she was like, oh my gosh, it's been COVID for too long, I forgot the name of The Social Network. And she just like, what's that movie, The Social Distancing? I thought that was I thought that was so funny.
That's funny.
So let's just talk currently again with the Downey Live channel. He's about to hit 300,000 subs. He's got several videos with over 100,000 views and many that perform really well. When you're working with him, I mean, let's see, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-ish it's almost 8 that are over 1 million. So what do you do with him? Like, what do you actually strategize anything with him, or does he just kind of hand you the footage and you go from there? How does he kind of craft his stories? Does he do it with you, or?
Yeah, it's pretty solid. We have I'm still trying to work on my personal communication skills, but he's great at communicating. He gives me like a whole email like breakdown of like the footage. Usually, like there's some like that are pretty self-explanatory, but he usually gives me like a whole breakdown and like uploads it onto Dropbox in like folders, like numbered folders for each different scene, which is great. And then like a little description of like, this is what I was thinking here. And then he also like records like while he's in the moment or before he like records something, he'll say, hey Matt, I'm thinking about doing this scene in like a discovery way, like I'm on a treasure hunt or whatever. Cool. And then I can play into that.
Interesting. So he's giving you kind of notes as he's shooting it. Which is clever.
Yeah, and then he's also open to me giving ideas for future videos or for like a current video that I'm working on. If I'm like, hey, a drone shot of this would be really sweet, just like to establish where you are. He'll like go out and shoot that drone shot for me.
Oh, cool.
Depending on, as long as he's not like traveling or something, but if it's like accessible, he'll do it.
Stock footage. Stock footage is your friend sometimes.
yeah. But he's great at like kind of collaborating and he's gives a lot of creative freedom for me, which is great.
Now, what's the technicalities of that that makes that doable on a remote relationship? Is it shot in 1080p, or does he like convert it to like a lower res proxy file or something, or does he just have blazing fast internet?
Well, currently because he's like traveling, like he's not great internet speed, but he gets what he can from like hotels and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But he's uploading like 4K files, and
Wow.
it's roughly 8 hours, maybe, like an episode, for the
8
cross Canada.
hours?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
Good lord.
Yeah. So
those are beefy projects, dude, to edit.
they can be. Yeah. Well, the past couple, like the episode 2 and 3, have been a lot smaller file size, but episode 1 was like 2.4 terabytes, just like alone.
And you do it over the internet?
Yeah, well, so just the project file like was like on my computer was
gotcha.
like 2.4 terabytes. But
I mean, if he's shooting 4K and it's 8 hours, I mean, I would imagine that you're downloading what, like 300 gigs or something.
Yeah, I'll have to check, but it's something big. But I basically have it set up on my computer, so I've like Dropbox just like automatically downloading to my computer, so it doesn't have to. I don't have to wait or whatever.
Yeah. How much?
So it's yeah.
Do you use internal storage, or is it just targeted to like an external drive, or?
Yeah, so Dropbox is currently on internal, but I like
you wipe
transfer it. I transfer it onto onto external.
Like, you gotta have like an 8 terabyte internal drive or something.
Yeah. No, I can't do that.
Do you have anything to do with his thumbnails?
A little bit on the more recent ones. I've edited a couple, but he mainly does them himself. But okay. he's obviously like he's open to my thoughts, and he will send me like a few options to get my thoughts on it all. And but for the past few and for like the upcoming ones, I'm assigned to do those ones. So I'm working on those now. But.
So to somebody who may come up to you and say, Matt, I want to be a YouTube editor, what do you have to say for those people who are listening who do want to actually do this? And we started this conversation saying there's so many YouTubers desperate to find YouTube editors. How do they get started?
Yeah. Well, first off, I'm fucking glad that like people want to be an editor, because I feel like that's. Sorry for swearing. I don't know if I cannot.
Did you
swear? But...
I didn't hear
okay,
swear.
Okay, never mind. Never mind.
The internet must have like skipped over that.
Yeah, it's all good.
The Canadian Prime Minister.
Yeah, they're listening.
Won't allow it. The Canadians are so nice that they won't allow you to swear over Zoom.
Yeah. But I think we need more editors in the creator economy, the creator world, and I think finding someone that you really look up to, like as a creator, like who do you watch, and study their content and try to emulate their vibes, their cuts, their feel and stuff. But I feel like the most rare editors right now are the storytelling editors. Yeah. So I would study like Hayden Hillier-Smith. I would study like Yes Theory. I'm reading a book now that was also recommended by Hayden. It's Save book? The Cat. Save the Cat. Yeah. So that's super great. I read.
Dude Perfect's been doing some really good stuff too, even with storytelling. Yeah. Surprisingly enough, you kind of imagine them just the trick shot guys, but even they're having to really convert their format to a more story driven thing. So
interesting.
It's not like you don't have like crazy emotional things happening necessarily. It's just like the way it's formatted, there's like a beginning, a middle, and an end, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like everyone's going to be moving in that direction, like sooner or later too. Cause like, even like Mr. Beast, I feel like a lot of people are trying to emulate or copy his style, which is very fast cutting, sort of just like keeping your attention the whole time. But I feel like himself is going to want to move into more of a storytelling sort of feel. Like he does have storytelling bits in his videos, but like they're not like it's sometimes like I don't know, he'll give money away and we hear their story for a little bit, like the thank you so much is going to help like my kids eat or my college fund or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And then we just like move on. Like we don't have time to really feel like that person's story or feel like, oh wow, like this is really deserving for this person. And I feel like there's elements of it that are missing, that like him or Eric or whoever, like all these YouTubers, I feel like are gonna want to move into that. Hopefully, I mean that's
Yeah.
a hypothesis or whatever, but
Well, the flip side
yeah.
of that too is like The Price is Right is the longest running show in the history of
Mm-hmm.
television, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, I think game shows have always existed as long as television has really been around,
Right.
and they continue to exist, and they continue
Mm-hmm.
to up the ante. One show that I really love was called Wipeout. Do you remember that, or did you ever see
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just when that came out, it was such a ridiculous concept. You know, people
Right.
doing this obstacle course and getting smacked in the face with
Mm-hmm.
these
Mm-hmm.
giant foam things, and then the big
That's
balls that they
true.
had to bounce off of and stuff. So,
Yeah.
um, I think there's always room for mindless entertainment. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
because most people have jobs they don't enjoy and they want to just escape and laugh for a little bit. You
Right.
know, so
Yeah. Yeah.
but that being said, you know, Wipeout isn't winning an Oscar or anything like that. So
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
storytelling will always exist as well. I remember when
Yeah.
Casey Neistat, he made a video, how to vlog like Casey Neistat by Casey Neistat.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and he talks about all the same things. And that was 4 years ago. He talks about how even with his daily vlogs, he tried to find ways to have an act one, an act two, and an act
Mm-hmm.
three in every vlog. And it almost sounds impossible to do if you're just doing it every single day as a vlogger, but that's what made him so good, is that he was able to
Yeah.
find little things to be a, you know, traditional filmmaking storyteller, but in the YouTube kind of
Yeah.
package. So
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of making like mundane life seem like a story or a movie,
yeah,
which is,
absolutely.
yeah, that's what I really loved about him. Yeah.
So what are your personal like aspirations beyond, you know, continuing to edit with other great YouTubers? Like, do you have any type of things that you're cooking in your brain for yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. I've been thinking about like, with like, I feel like a lot of people want an editor that's like just focused on editing and not being a creator themselves, because also a lot of editors are wanting to build their own thing as well.
Yeah.
But I do feel like they come hand in hand sometimes. So I kind of do want to build my own brand up a bit more, of being a video editor and sharing my thoughts or skills or whatever. But I want to, yeah, I want to experiment with different. Do you hear cats?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
What's up, kitty?
Um, I want to
It's
experiment
all
with different creators and then trying different like styles, I guess. Because like, you know, I went from like editing gaming content to like editing Downey Live and Discover Connection, and like there's different formats. And I'd love to try editing like for Dude Perfect or Mr. Beast or whoever, Sidemen, and just like play around with that and see how like what I can bring to the table and what I can improve. And I think it should be, yeah, I don't like being stagnant for too long, which definitely helps with like with Downey Live. Like we're advancing and making bigger and different types of content.
Yeah, he seems very driven, and you know, he's growing himself as a creative too. That's what you want, is to find somebody to partner with that's willing to grow with you.
Yeah, which I feel like it's probably like one of the more exciting things for Hayden with like editing for Logan, is like seeing the advancements that Logan's making, and like you get to edit a story based off of like this guy slowly becoming, you know, who he is right now.
Yeah,
so
totally.
that's gotta be exciting. Yeah.
Although I saw him in California about a month ago, and he was expressing how it's like, it is kind of weird. Like, I haven't done anything since the Mayweather fight. He's like,
oh yeah.
I'm yeah, I mean Logan hasn't posted anything on his channel
Oh, I know. Yeah.
since then.
Well, he's in
Um
Europe or something now, right? He's doing.
I mean he's obviously doing the podcast.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I mean when you make that kind of money, it's kind of
Yeah.
like you could just make it, you could just train all year,
Hmm.
do the fight, do the mega fight, get all the money, and then you don't have to work anymore for the rest of the year.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like he might be also just waiting for like, or not. He doesn't have to
Just the
force
next
content. Like,
idea. Yeah.
yeah, he doesn't need to be posting weekly. He's like able to just
Hmm.
like, yeah, like with like the Pokemon cards, like he didn't have to
Well,
think about that one too much, you know?
him and Jake have now crossed over to like true celebrity status now with the fighting.
Yeah,
I mean, the
yeah.
fact
It's
that
really interesting.
SNL did a sketch, making
Hmm.
fun of Jake Paul, and
Yeah,
um, Colin and Samir mentioned that on their channel. Like, if Logan or Jake was a guest host at this point,
yeah,
it wouldn't really be a surprise, and
right.
it would make sense for SNL to do that to like
Yeah,
get the younger generation to watch.
that's true.
Um, but yeah, cool. I love where you're headed. I love your ideas here, and everybody go follow Matt on Twitter and Instagram, at Matt Mort on at Matt Mort underscore on Twitter,
Yeah, yeah.
and then
Sadly.
yeah, I did that as well. And then same for Instagram as well. So at least it's consistent.
Yeah,
Matt at Matt Mort underscore, and then Matt Mort YouTube channel, and then obviously if you want to actually see his work that he's currently working on, subscribe to Downey Live and
yeah.
post a comment and say Matt Mort is the best editor on YouTube.
Great. Yeah, yeah. I think if I don't want to plug too much, but if anyone out there is looking to become an editor, or if anyone out there is an editor themselves, but connect with me or send me a message. I'm trying to. I want to connect more creators to editors and more editors
Yes.
to each other. So, yeah, I feel like there needs to be a bit more of an ecosystem out there for editors,
Yes.
for sure.
So everybody, that's an open invitation. Go follow Matt.
Yeah.
Shoot him a message and he'll respond. Matt, it was a
Yeah.
pleasure having you on the show, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
Was there anything
Appreciate
else
it.
that you wanted to talk about?
I don't know. I didn't come with any questions myself, but
Let me end with this. If you could change one thing about YouTube, what would it be? If you had like a magic wand.
that's a big question. Okay.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's my closer.
I know. Do you got time? You can cut this out.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
One thing about YouTube, change one thing.
Or add.
Um,
You could add something that isn't there. A feature, some sort of really cool analytic stat, or like, a lot of people want to do A/B thumbnail testing and stuff. But if you want to do something bigger than that, if you literally have a magic wand,
mhm.
I think I would want instant processing. Like once it's
Oh, yeah.
uploaded, no processing time, like waiting. It's so annoying
Mhm.
having to wait for the processing. Or Crazy Ken from Computer Clan, who we had on 2 weeks ago, he mentioned like Vimeo has the ability, and they've always had this ability to replace the video using the same
Oh,
using the same URL.
I like
So
that.
like I feel like it happens all the time where maybe you accidentally, put something out there that you don't want to, or
Yeah.
you get demonetized because of a song that's like halfway through on accident.
Mhm,
And so if
mhm.
you could re-edit it, cut that out, and then replace the original file, and keep the same URL.
Right.
So it doesn't mess anything up in terms of views or like
Yeah.
embeds.
Mhm, mhm.
I would imagine, because there's no technical reason why they wouldn't do that. There must be like a philosophy reason with that. Like they
Yeah.
don't want people to like go back and change things. Kind of like how Twitter will never put an edit button
The
on
edit
it.
button. Yeah. I feel like it's probably because of like, yeah, people someone could have a video with like a billion views and then like change it to be like some weird political thing or whatever.
Yeah, and then it's like this weird political video has 1 billion views on it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
that's a good point. Yeah. But
I
Vimeo
think,
is more for professionals, and we only use it for professional reasons, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I think one thing that I might add to YouTube, I guess it's more of like a side thing. It's like it's not really with the platform itself per se. But I'd be really curious to see just like the credits of like the YouTube videos, like who edited this, who produced this. Like I want to know who's.
That's a good one.
Yeah, like it's more than just the creator. I'm very curious as to like who worked on every video I watched. So something like that would be
I mean, think about Mr. Beast and how many people are behind the camera now with him, with the sound guys, with the set design people.
Especially
I'm sure
his Squid Game video that's coming out.
I know.
So many people work on that.
I feel like it's, it doesn't it probably wouldn't even mean much to most people, but just like television or film, most people don't watch the credits, but at least it's there, and it's just kind of a courtesy to the creators. That's actually a good suggestion. I like that one. All right, Matt, thank you so much. We'll talk again soon. I'll talk to you maybe next year when you're editing for Mr. Beast.
Okay, sounds good.